Hi everybody, I hope your Saturday's going wonderful. Yes, I got shiny skin and wet hair, just got out of the shower, but I thought I would do just a little video, and I may attach it actually to another one, but this one is just going to be particularly me changing my site. My insulin pump's running out, so it's time for me to put a new one on. And I thought I'd take you all through it with me, and I'll show you what I do and how I go about doing it. I have a Medtronic 530G. It actually is equipped to be used with a glucose sensor that I don't use because right now my insurance doesn't cover it, but hopefully someday it will. So I'm just going to change my site. I may go ahead and just kind of speed this up and do a little voiceover just so you guys aren't sitting here twiddling your thumbs while I take, my 20 minutes to do this. So we'll see how it goes. So that is the reservoir. Just so you know, I have the largest reservoir. I use the largest reservoir that they make. And then of course my insulin, and I have, because of my insurance, been changed to Novolog. I used to use Humalog, but and this actually, I don't want to say it works better yet, but it definitely works just as good as the Humalog did. Just so you know, I kind of up and down, I just go down twice but up once, so it ends up like this, and that is to kind of help spread around the little teeny tiny drops of mineral oil that they put right here on the rubber, and it just helps keep it from sticking later on. And you don't want to do it too much either, because then you'll of course wear off all that mineral oil that's in there. And of course you displace, just like you would do with a syringe, displace it with the air, and then I turn it upside down, and then I let it start filling on its own. And once it hits that point where it's not really going very fast on its own, then I just add a little bit of pressure. Not too much, because if you do too much, then you end up with giant air bubbles, or actually end up with thousands of little tiny ones. And those are really hard to get out. So I just try to go, relatively slow, so that it doesn't do that. You gotta be real careful not to pull the plunger out when you get to the bottom. I've done that once or twice, and you end up wasting a whole lot of insulin. This part right here I throw away into my sharps disposal. I got one from Walmart for a couple of bucks, so that's where this goes. It's just a big giant piece of plastic with a needle that goes all the way through it. That of course is just plastic, so I throw it away. Now the sets that I use are called the Mios, and these are ones that I showed you guys once before, and they have everything already in it. They have the inserter. I have a couple of other sets I've used in the past that have to have a separate inserter, which either way it doesn't seem to make any difference to me. One's just as good as the other one. So I took the plastic off of it, took the paper off from down at the bottom, and I pinch it together to pull the top off. And then I've got to you got to be kind of careful with this part, unwinding the tubing, because if you pull too fast, you're going to end up pulling the whole thing out of this inserter piece, and then you have to start over with a brand new one. So if you can avoid that, it would be best. I can't always avoid it. Sometimes I just get a little too carried away. And of course then you just attach it. Okay, now I'm going to show you where my old one is and where I'll be putting the new one. And you can make all the comments you want about my belly. This is just the way it is. So, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Whoops, let me see if I can get it in the right spot. Okay, so that is the left side of my belly, and all you gotta do is just kind of pull, and then it comes off. Sometimes you'll get them to where a little bit of fluid comes out, maybe some of the insulin, or even actually a little bit of blood. No big deal, providing it all just stops. I usually just put a little bit of pressure on it. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to show you. I'll put it somewhere in probably this area right in here. you need, I rotate them side to side and then kind of around on the sides. As long as they're an inch apart from the old one, or inch away from the old one, typically you're alright. It's not that big of a deal. You just don't want them too close, because then you end up with a lot of scar tissue and it doesn't always set right. So next thing is I take my pump and I hit it to, let me find it. It's called Reservoir and Set, and then Reservoir Setup, and then it'll tell me to disconnect, and then I hit Act, and there it is, it's rewinding. So what it's doing is taking the plunger that's right here and it's sucking it all the way back down into here so that I can put the reservoir back in here. Usually doesn't take very long. In the meantime, I can take my reservoir and get ready to put it in there. So, get a good look at it. You'll see that there's a big black circle there, and that tells you that it's doing something important and that you need to be paying attention to it. That beep was to tell me that it was done rewinding. So then I just kind of twisted that reservoir in there, and then I've got my setup here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the drops or not, but I'm going to hold it up here and hopefully you guys get to see that with me. It only takes usually about 9 units to fill this, to prime it. And all we're doing is filling the tubing. You can't fill the cannula, of course, until after you insert it and you take the needle out of it. Okay, so there was a little bit of insulin there at the end. And then there is a little bit of tape covering the sticky part. And then this plastic piece right here is covering the needle. And I'll pull this down. I don't know that I'm going to be able to show you guys me actually doing it. But basically, I will push these. There's a little indent right here, one on each side, and I'll push those, and that actually just releases it right where I aim it. And then I just kind of push down on it for a couple of seconds just to make sure it gets set in there good. Then I pull it out, and the only part that's left is the actual part that sets it, and there's that little needle right there. I have not found a good way to throw these away as far as sharps disposal. I don't have a sharps container that takes anything this big. I'm still looking into that. So at this point, you know, I'm just doing my best to get rid of it the best way I know how. So now that I've done that, I'll hit escape to let it know that I'm done. And then it'll say, did I see drops at the end? Yes. And then I tell it to put in another half a unit, and that's to fill in where that needle was. And then that's it. I'm all set up. I'm ready to go for, another 3 or 4 days usually. You should change your sights about every 3 days. I don't always do that. I think I'm probably just as guilty as anybody else, but it's actually best if you do, because that keeps it from breaking down and causing more scar tissue. So until next time, till I get another chance to sit and talk with you guys, have a wonderful weekend. Love you all. Check your numbers, make sure you know what they are, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.